we're now going to apply our insights on standards. In the first instance, when one looks at the issue of clarifying contribution, it's apparent that there are two kinds of contribution. There's the kind of contribution of people who are doing a job themselves, and then there's the kind of contribution of people who play a leadership role. When one considers the leader's contribution, it's apparent that the leader does 7 things in terms of their contribution to their subordinates. In the first instance, the leader's job is to care for the subordinate, to give the subordinate unconditional time and attention. The second thing that the leader contributes to the subordinate are the means for the subordinate to do the job, which includes things like authority, resources, tools, the boss's time, a standard, a value set, etc. The third thing that the boss does is he should be enabling or making the subordinate able to do his job. And as we've discovered, this means to enable the subordinate to both how to do the job that's required of them and why they should do it. When it comes to the issue of accountability, we've argued that there are really 4 categories. It is to reward a person, it is to praise the subordinate, it is to censure the subordinate or punish the subordinate appropriately. So in a sense, when a leader operationalizes this take-on contribution, the first thing that he does when he clarifies the contribution of a subordinate who himself has a leadership role, he clarifies that contribution consistent with these 7 categories. So should we apply our insights to actually establishing or defining contribution, then when we look at the worker, for example, the first thing that becomes apparent is that we have to identify what the key measures are that are the worker's responsibility, because that then will also enable us to work out what the worker himself has to do in order to achieve that result. When one looks at how we define the role of the supervisor, what becomes apparent is the first thing that we have to do is we have to define what the key measures are for the supervisor, and then we've got to define what the supervisor does himself and what means, ability, and accountability he's supposed to be giving to his subordinates. And then finally, when one looks at the issue of the manager, we've got to define the results required of the manager, his responsibility, and then we've got to define what the means, the ability, and the accountability is that he's supposed to give his 2 subordinates and what he's supposed to do himself. You are now going to apply this understanding of defining contribution to 3 roles in the hierarchy of your organization, starting from a worker level person and then defining the supervisor's role and then defining the manager's role.